In this podcast, we're going to look at solving a word problem that involves proportions. Your recipe for chili feeds 8 people. It calls for 2 pounds of hamburger, 2 1/3 pounds of tomatoes, and 4/5 pounds of beans. You wish to cook enough chili for 30 people. How much will all the ingredients weigh? Well, let's first look at how much our ingredients weigh for 8 people. Our recipe for 8 people, if we add up all the weights of the ingredients, 2 plus 2 1/3 plus 4/5, we get, we have to get common denominators. The 2 is okay. 2 1/3 and the 4/5 need to have common denominators. 3 and 5, the lowest multiple of 3 and 5 is 15. So I'm going to transform those fractions into 15ths, which means for the 1/3, multiplying the top and bottom of the fraction by 5. So I get 5/15ths, and for the 4/15ths, multiplying the top and bottom of the fraction by 3. So I get 12/15ths. So I can go ahead and add the 2's. 2 plus 2 gives me 4. And I can go ahead and add my fractions, 5/15ths and 12/15ths. 5 plus 12 is 17/15ths. 17/15ths, you should recognize that that is an improper fraction. 17/15ths is really just 1 and 2/15ths. Sorry. Is 1 and 2/15ths. So I'm going to have to add that 1 and 2/15ths to my already existing 4, and I get 5 and 2/15ths. So for 8 people, my ingredients weigh 5 and 2/15ths. But we want to know for 30 people, how much will our ingredients weigh? We're comparing 2 quantities. And when we compare 2 quantities, we can set up ratios and set up a proportion then to solve for that missing piece. In this case, we can say 8 people is to 30 people, as 5 and 2/15ths is to X number of pounds. We have a proportion. To solve your proportion, you cross multiply. So I'm going to multiply 8 times x, and I'm going to multiply 30 times 5 and 2/15ths. To multiply 30 times 5 and 2/15ths without a calculator, here's our little sidebar, I'm going to multiply 30 times 5 and 2/15ths. I'm going to change it into an improper fraction. 15 times 5 is 75, plus the 2 gives me 77/15ths. When I multiply those fractions, I can cross cancel. 15 goes into 15 once, 15 goes into 30 twice, and so 30 times 77/15ths is really 2 times 77, which is going to be 154. 8x equals 154. Isolate the x by dividing both sides by 8. X is going to equal, we'll do this long division, 8 goes into 15 once, 8 goes into 74 9 times, remainder of 2. I'm going to get the decimal form for this. I'm going to bring down a 0. 8 goes into 20 2 times, leaving me with 16. Remainder of 4, 8 goes into 40 5 times. So my answer is 19.25 pounds.